Okay, you guys and gals are really gonna rip on me for this intro. This is the Britney Spears market. Oops, we did it again. Making a high for the week on a Friday, ending the week on the highs. Let's see if we can improve on that, maybe bust our way into 7,500. Obvious guy trade, what the heck is that? Well, Fee's been doing some research. We'll talk about that. We'll go in depth into the SpaceX IPO. Triple D. He put on the glasses and rolled up the sleeves and did a lot of work. Retail? Is the consumer dead? Well, not really. We'll check on some surprising retail earnings. Even some stocks hitting a new all-time high. Everyone loves Tony Pollock, right? 835. CEO Real Life Trading will join us. We're working hard on this Friday, so let's get it started on Pre-Market Prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, let's get those charts on the stage, brought to you by TradeStation. Born to trade, chart, analyze, customize, all-in-one platform. Trade smarter, move faster, and stay in control with the platform built for serious traders and traders that are adapting AI. As I said, folks, found some bids in the after hours. Wouldn't even go red. We're up 15 and a quarter handles at 74.81 and a quarter. The buck having a good week here, off the highs for the week, but back over 99, up a dime, 99.31. TLT not dead yet, up 20 cents, 84.42. USO, couple red candles, up only 33 cents today, 142.87. GLD and SLV hanging out near the low of the move, both down fractionally 0.5% for GLD, 414.83. That's down 216. SLV under 70, down 1.2%. That's 83 cents at 68.62. And table Bitcoin, look at those little ranges, down 0.4%, $310 at 77,385. Let's bring in one person that does not have a 3-day weekend.
No, I'm not allowed. I don't get holidays. I just work. This is my life. Work. I don't sleep. I just work. This is how it goes. Welcome to the life of a trader. There's no sleeping in the life of a trader. So if you want to be a full-time trader, just remember you will sleep no longer because the markets are going 24, at least 5.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And when you're not working, you're trying to fix the washer, which...
No, I know. I just
not a good idea.
Yeah,
not a good idea.
I'm not even going to go into that. We're not going to.
So this is what we're going to do today, in honor of Brent. We're going to follow the outline to the T. There's not going to be any tangents, and we're going to end exactly at 9 o'clock.
If we're in honor of Claude would really like that. We might actually get our first 80% grade on the show if we actually read. Why don't we just read the outline? We'll just read it, like word for word, and Claude would say, that was an awesome show. You guys covered everything you wanted to talk about. I think it would do that, actually. I think it would do that. It would be really boring, but Claude would really like it. Claude likes boring. It likes the facts. Give me the facts. Doesn't want tangents. It doesn't want a washing machine story. It doesn't want anything else other than the facts. So let's do a fact show. It's facts check show. So this is the news, corporate news overnight, reading right from Fee's outline for Claude. U.S.-Iran signal peace progress, but remain at odds over enriched uranium, Strait of Hormuz tolls. Mixed messaging on Iran peace deal negotiations. Where have we heard this before? Rubio, flanked by NATO SEC, or Secretary General Rutt, says no nation should accept tolls in the Strait of Hormuz.
That was beautiful.
I bet you Claude grades us 10 out of 10 on that. They probably give us a 10 out of 10 on that segment because we followed the outline perfectly. It's a test for Claude. Okay.
One last thing.
Straight open, not open.
Claude, let me interrupt you. They'll say I interrupted, and we'll get downgraded for that. Claude tells us we don't talk about economic data. But when there's no economic data, how can we talk about economic data? I don't know. All right.
Claude wants to know about the economy all the time. Is Claude a he or a she? Claudette? Claude?
I don't know.
I guess it's an it. Okay, so war talk's over. Let's move on. SpaceX. Now, there's an exciting conversation here, and here's an exciting conversation to talk about because big moves last night. We've been playing this again through DXYZ, and this stock is now on the radars of everyone. Blasted off yesterday, pun fully intended. Stock goes from $48.82 up to $62. I did not foresee that happening there. We've been talking about this for a while. I thought it could get a little bit of the S1 hangover. Now, no, everybody's on the radar on this thing here now. But last night, so we had a SpaceX launch. They scrubbed it. They didn't get rid of it. They just pushed it back. I think it was, I don't know if it's due to weather fee, what it was. But anyways, as soon as that news came out that the launch wasn't going to happen, oh my gosh, DXYZ just algos just like, sell, Mortimer, sell, 61, 66, down to 60, down to 59, down to 58, down to 57, down to 56, down to 55, down to 54, down to 53. I'm like looking in the newswire. I'm like, did they do an offering? I'm like, did the rocket blow up? I'm like, what happened? Oh no, they just pushed the date back. And then it came all the way back up. It goes all the way back up to $63. So Algo City there, all over that. Boom. You can see the move there last night. Quick. What do? The obvious guy trade, they buy the dip again. That is what they do on these, on everything that they like. They just come in and buy the dip. Stock is trading kind of flat here. So I was on DW News in Germany yesterday, and they asked me to talk SpaceX. I mentioned DXYZ. I mentioned a little bit about how it's going to affect Tesla. But I did all this, like I knew the segment was coming, and I knew it was going to be 5 minutes. I didn't know the question. So I did a bunch of research on SpaceX. And I went into my research because I thought, for the segment, they might ask me about valuation. They might ask me, how are they going to? But, I thought the conversation would go that direction. So I decided to do the research ahead of time. So I did like an hour research on it. I went into my SpaceX research with the thought process that, hey, look, company had 18 billion in sales last year. It's going to come out with a market cap probably of 1.8 to $2 trillion. So it's basically trading over 100 times sales. So I went into this research thinking the valuation is going to make no sense. There's no way you can buy this on day one. And then I started doing homework and research. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, my conclusions are shocking to me. So let's get into it for like 3-4 minutes and just talk SpaceX. Because everybody's talking yesterday. But I don't know if anybody's really jumped deep down into the fundies here a little bit. So we know fundamentals don't matter when the story is hot anyways. And the story is going to be very hot for SpaceX. So that might just drive the price to 2.5, 3 trillion. If it starts going to silly town, you probably lay off. But at the $2 trillion valuation, it's trading 100 times sales. That sounds ridiculous. But when you read the S1, they've got the deal with Anthropic, which is going to add $1.25 billion of revenue per month, which is another 15 billion a year. So now you take their 18 billion from last year, add Anthropic's 15 billion, that brings you up to $33 billion. Starlink is expected to grow. They're expecting Starlink to grow about 10 to 12 billion dollars too in sales for next year. So that brings you up to $43 billion in sales for next year. There's some other deals or something happening. You could quickly see how this could get to 45, maybe even 50 billion in sales next year. Well, now you're only talking, you're not trading 100 times sales, you're trading 25 times sales. Still seems ridiculously high, but Palantir's traded 100 times sales. There's stocks and stories. Tesla, has been trading, at a ridiculous valuation here as well. And then if you think about more deals and you think about where it's going, like think about like this Anthropic deal is a compute deal. But think about like even mentioned in there is data centers in space. What's that worth? I mean, if they actually can do it and they have the technology to do it, but is it dollar, cost prohibitive? Can we launch up, everything up there to put these data centers in space? It makes a lot of sense. Why does it make sense data centers in space? It sounds like fiction, but if anybody can do it, it's Musk, especially since he owns a rocket company. It makes sense for 3 reasons. One, it can be solar powered. Okay. Up in space, you have 24/7 sunlight. So you don't have to worry about, the Earth going around and, like getting sunlight half the time. No, 24/7 sunlight up there. There's no atmosphere to filter the rays. So what this does, it makes solar panels much more efficient. In fact, they say that solar panels in space would generate 8 times more energy than they do on Earth. That's impressive. So that's going to be a lot cheaper than obviously the way we're, doing it down here. No real estate costs, just up there in space. So that's number 2, obvious one. And then 3, cooling. It's up in space. It's going to be a lot easier to cool these things. So, I mean, that all makes a hell of a lot of sense for SpaceX. So there are some other revenue sources here that are going to be coming for SpaceX. So we can't just say, oh, it's trading 100 times sales and doesn't make any sense. This revenue probably going to grow quite substantially.
Okay. Wow. There's a lot to say there. We just popped for some unknown reason. War probably ended again.
Well, probably ended for the 28th time.
Yeah. But a lot of great research here. What we also just noticed, just for ancillary plays, solar took off yesterday. Did you see that move in ENPH? You got to also think about Musk's acquisition of Solar City. Using solar technology at his disposal. But, one thing that, you didn't mention, and I know you will, is it's a story.
Well, that's what we said right off the bat.
Yeah.
So valuation doesn't even matter when the story.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
And the story is going to be hot as hell.
Right.
So that's the major consideration there too. The wild card, which was actually mentioned in the S1 as well, and I want to blow your mind. I've said this before, but it was mentioned in the S1. Just said asteroid mining. It was mentioned in there. I'm like, that, my friends, is a real wild card. And I want to just give you some quick stats here, which will blow your mind. Blow your mind. So there's an asteroid in the asteroid belt. NASA actually has a mission. They're going there in 2029 to study this asteroid specifically because it's the precious metal asteroid. It's called 16 Psyche. Psychee. So the spelling of it, but that's how you pronounce it. 16 Psyche. NASA has a mission already to study it. They estimate at this point in time that it has gold, platinum, and nickel. Guess how much gold, platinum, and nickel, Joel, that they think is in this asteroid?
87,000 metric tons.
No, way wrong. They estimate from $1's value, 10,000 quadrillion dollars worth of precious metals.
That's not a number.
It's not a number. Okay, well, if you don't like that, you could go with like the next one, like quintillion. So you could go like 10 quintillion dollars. What does that mean? What is 10,000 quadrillion dollars? What is that? That is equivalent to 100,000 times the entire global economy. What would that do? So you can't just say, oh, they're going to make all this money because they're going to go mine this asteroid. If they brought and were able to mine this asteroid and somehow do it, and it mentions asteroid mining in the S1, if they could somehow figure it out, all your precious metals are no longer precious because they're in abundance there. What does that do to the price of gold? Sends it to almost virtually worthless. So you can't just say 10,000 quadrillion because when you flood, like so much precious metals in. So its precious metals are precious on Earth. If SpaceX can actually get out there and start mining asteroids that have precious metals, now none of those things are precious. So think about that when you're investing all your money in gold and silver as your defensive hedge. There's a lot of gold and silver out there in outer space. SpaceX may be the one to figure it out. So lots of wild cards. Bottom line here is this SpaceX IPO, you can't just take it at face value and say, oh, it's ridiculously overvalued, because there is some substance here.
Wow, you really you went underneath, you did the research, very adept. It's just going to be a lot of fun, to watch, how this trade. They asked, the Musk factor too. He's been kind of quiet lately. He's gonna get involved. People have always wanted to invest in Musk, and Tesla's had its run. If you don't think something could trade at an extended valuation for an extended period of time,
Tesla has forever. What does it do to Tesla stock? There's another, tangent. I know we're talking to SpaceX, but everybody is talking SpaceX, CNBC talking all day. So I'm over in Germany talking. Might as well talk it here. What does it do to Tesla shares? That's a big question mark. Is this good for Tesla or bad for Tesla? That's even a question mark. Because what you have is everybody who wants to play Elon Musk has to do it through Tesla in the public markets. Now you're going to be able to play Elon Musk through SpaceX. Does that mean, the investors disperse amongst two stocks now? I'm not so confident that this is actually good news for Tesla. Maybe they merge the companies eventually just to keep it all simple. That's, been rumored as well. I don't think that's going to happen. But, there's a wild card for Tesla here too. Tesla yesterday on the S1, crickets, didn't really move. It was down a little bit, up a little bit. Hard to say. Dan Ives thinks it's going to move. Dan Ives thinks they're going to merge. We have that on the screen here right now on Pomp's podcast. I don't think so, but we don't know. So, okay. One more. So the DXYZ trade, which we've been talking about here, just to sum it all up, is obviously the way that investors now are playing SpaceX pre-IPO. I mean, after IPO, it's probably going to move to something else. But we can clearly see, even with the SpaceX move and the launch delayed last night, and the tank in DXYZ is being traded as pre-IPO as SpaceX. Why? Because it owns 20% of it almost. It's so not 20% of SpaceX, but 20% of this fund is SpaceX. So it owns some other stuff too. We've talked, it's got an Anthropic position, small OpenAI position. Destiny Tech 100 invests in private companies. So that's the way people are playing SpaceX pre-IPO. It's quite a bit above NAV. That premium probably comes out of it once SpaceX goes public. But, VCX was another way people were playing it. The problem with VCX is that stock is trading ridiculously above NAV, which is down to 40 and it's $290. So that's a way some people are playing this. We've been playing it that way too.
All right, let's just go to that DXYZ trade. And we named the show the Obvious Guy trade. And Fee made a nice graphic for this. And he was watching the space launch. So, Fee, if you could just throw that graphic up there real quick.
Sure.
And we'll just go over it. And, it's pretty simple. Anticipation. Oh, canceled. Dennis Scott, covered it, in good detail. I don't know if he is going to bring up that graphic or not, but oh no, they scrapped the launch. Boom, come down. I don't know where the level, if you would have chosen, they didn't even get to yesterday's low. But for you, DXYZ traders, you're back. Big day yesterday. Let's see what happens. Trying to go unchanged here, 61.12. It did do that earlier in the session, but there you go. And also yesterday's high, I think it closed near the high. Closed 61.66, high 62. Move. Big volume yesterday too. Big volume. So
that chart just tells the whole story, though. I mean, if you think DXYZ isn't trading off of SpaceX, that's right there. That big sell-off was the delay in the launch. And then it comes right back, and obviously moving higher after that.
Very
crazy move. Okay.
Let's we're talking about earnings and retail. Retail's dead, right, sure. Dennis?
Retail. Well, that's what some people, even myself, are thinking. Retail is hurting here. Not with the retail earnings last night. So obviously, Walmart maybe spooked the retail of Walmart's not doing good, and nobody's doing good. Well, that was not the case with the earnings last night. We had multiple retail companies reporting earnings, and many of them doing very, very well. Start with Ross Stores, which was probably expected to do well. It's off-price retailer, one of Ryan Craver's favorites. Shout out, Ryan. You always give us some great research when you come on the show. Stock, reports earnings. Give us those numbers here. Okay. If you've got them in the background, you can read them off.
I got them. Ross Stores, 202 versus 168. Nice beat on sales, 6.01 versus 5.56. EPS guidance. We'll take that guidance higher for Q2. We'll take it higher for the fiscal year. Beat, raise. Nice financial results here. How many retail stocks do you have trading at a new all-time high? I don't know, but we got into silly town here in the after hours market. We went to 237.94. Not going to go out on the limb here, but I'll say, man, You got to take a while to get back up to 237.94. What I thought might have been a good level, and we could do a reset here now that we're back down at 228.50. You know, and as Dennis would say, well, the institutions aren't there yet. They're getting to their desk and they're going to say, I wanted to sell this at the all-time high. What are you talking about? It went to 237. So that all-time high is 231.16. We've already blown through it by quite a wide margin. But just make sure if you're buying this off the hop, you think your thing's going to 240. That's the only resistance level that I can give you here in raw stores.
I mean, this is a TJX comparable. TJX had earnings popped up and come back. But I mean, the off-price retailers are still doing pretty good. They probably were just baby with the bathwater. XRT going down basically every day in May, and at least, you know, end of April to May. So you see these stocks getting hit as well. But I think TJX raw stores, they've always been firing on all cylinders. They continue to do that. Also reporting earnings, Deckers reporting earnings. That was up, but giving it back. So the problem is we did this segment last night. If we do it last night, you know, you're like, oh, retail's doing great. But you know what? Again, that whole pesky thing about stocks and hardcore downtrends, you know, the rips get sold. That's starting to re-emerge here in this morning in some of these retail names, because Deckers was up $10 last night on its report and has turned around and gone to the red.
I think someone caught this in the oh no, that was Estee Slaughter that someone caught it. What we were looking at in the STN room was this high over 110, 110.56. And if you talk about some confluence here, you had a high of 110.88, and then you just immediately, I don't know what they said. Maybe they said something on their conference call. But you would just, that is a big reversal. Not sure what the expected move was here in Deckers, but you did get up to that 110 level. So now what do? You just look at the previous day's range. Wow, yesterday's low way down at 97.18. So I don't know about if we get that low today. But the close should be important and make it easy, 102.62. And that was nestled right up near the high of the day at 102.99. And if you're a moving average technician here, you got convergence on the 50 and the 200 day. So if you really want Deckers, they make those Uggs. I'll say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Winter shoes that you can't wear outside in the winter. Those furry slippers, way too cheap, or way too warm for me. But you got the convergence here that was right near yesterday's high. If you want to be a Deckers bull, you got to establish a bid over that level.
We also had software rally last night, led by Workday. The Jules joke, Workday. Stock up still $10, but leaking here. Workday earnings 266 versus 251, 2.54 billion versus 2.52 billion. Earnings on the screen. Thank you, Feehan. Big pop. It's kind of leaking, though. It's kind of leaking again. We have the same issue. Stocks and those huge, big downtrends, they pop up, and those trends, pesky trends, try to hold on you there. So a little bit of a leak here. Workday has been hated. Does this turn the whole story around and make it loved? I'm not betting that way.
Let's see. You did. Oh man, more confluence here. Your after hours high 139.78. And then what do? You absolutely look at this lineup here with a daily high at 139.38, I believe, right here, this daily high. So then now you're $8 off it. Now you got to find some intermediate levels. In the meantime, you're still up $9.50. Trading at 131.30. You can look at the high of the week. You got to be a nice target here. So you got to do reset after the after hours action, and your 3-day high in Workday 135.93. So another reaction, a pop and a drop. Still up $10. We're acting like the stock is crashing, but still having a good day.
Holding on, and jury's out. But any rally in software is always, left with a little bit of skepticism there. Take Two, which is also software, but has come back dramatically. Obviously, excitement around Grand Theft Auto. What are we on? Number 6 here now. They came out with 80 cents of earnings versus 57 cents of earnings, 1.58 billion versus 1.57 billion here. Did confirm the launch date. Feehan is all over everything. November 19th. There's a run up for you there. Write that on your calendars because that's an event for Take Two. So back on November 15th, you might be thinking about buying that Take Two ahead of that launch because people will be excited about that. But there's a long time between now and then. Take Two was caught up in software apocalypse there earlier this year, has come all the way back and is not far from all-time highs. The best in breed in gaming, probably because of the Grand Theft Auto family here, is trading up here 9 points. Joel, what did the technicals say?
259.88, as you would say. The algos got all antsy in their pantsy there when they took it up to that elevated level. What's sticking out to me is a zone. You're trading above the pair highs from last week at 246.25. I like to see it stay above that. And then that's flanked by another pair of highs at the 248.50 level. So that's a zone right here. Hold 46.5, take out 48.5, and then keep on going. But, when I look at these stock, and then can't answer this question right now, but do you think Microsoft, do you think that whole Activision deal, do you think that when they look at that, I mean, they bought LinkedIn, they bought Activision.
They've done a lot worse than Activision. They've bought a lot of things probably a hell of a lot worse than Activision. The LinkedIn, I think, and people will say, oh, but it's a huge generator here. I think at this point in time, though, they probably, LinkedIn's value is probably a lot less this year than it was 6 months ago. So they've done a lot worse than Activision. I don't know if it was their best purchase. They really overpaid. But there's definitely some games there too. I mean, Take Two's always been best of breed though. Like I just miss trading Activision because we always had Take Two, Activision, and EA, and we're going to lose EA here too. Maybe because it's been this merger's been out there, and it's going to be another year before they close. I have no idea why they take so long to close the damn thing. It's up at 210, but
are you still picking on that?
Yeah, when it pops up, I sell it short because it's just time value of money. So sometimes you see this thing give a lift, and then I sell it short because it gets up to 204. I'm like, well, the time value of money says it's too much, and I don't think anybody's paying a premium for EA. Like another person or another company coming in and buying this.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it pops up to the 204 area, I short it.
Okay. Yep. Just working the triple D arbitrage there. So we're coming up. We got Tony Pollock coming in.
Can we do a quick earnings preview? Because we're going to probably be a long time with Tony because Tony is fantastic. We want to do some ticker time with Tony here.
Let's go.
So, Fee, if you've got your earnings calendar, which you do such a good job putting together, bring it onto the screen. Oh, man, you're good. Brings it onto the screen. This is what we're looking at. Monday's trading. Well, I thought I wasn't getting the day off. I have nothing to trade because the stock market's closed. I guess I got to trade those Canadian stocks. I don't know anything about Canadian stocks. I know some Canadian banks, I guess Shopify. I maybe take some time off on Monday. Tuesday. So in the morning, we get AutoZone and Pony AI. Pony AI is an interesting one. Sometimes moves. Zscaler. There's one for you, Joel. And if you see anything you want to talk about technicals coming into these, let us know. We can just stop. Wednesday's Abercrombie and Fitch and Dick's. Wednesday night, CRM, HPQ, Snowflake, and everybody's going to be looking at Marvell. Why? Because the stock has doubled. Intern, shout out to you who called this in the STN think tank. Said at $90, this was the AI play. In 2 months, the stock has doubled. Wow. What a call. What a trade, MRVL. I was in it, sold it way too soon, as I always do. But holy cow, the stock's been a monster mover, MRVL. Thursday's Best Buy, Kohl's, BBW, Build-A-Bear still. They're making, I was in there, one of those stores. They're actually pretty busy. I mean, if they sell 5 bears, they can pay rent. Burlington, BURL, XPeng, which I own in the long-term portfolio. All China stocks have been absolute junk. Dell. That is going to be the highlight of the week again. I'm long Dell in the long-term portfolio, but man, it has been a hell of a run here too. Stock has doubled in the last 3 months. It's still just, I guess the servers and computers, but it seems like kind of, like a huge move here at this point in time. MongoDB, Autodesk, Okta, Joel, and Costco. Don't forget Costco. Any charts out there strike your fancy? Tony Pollock coming in the background. We'll get him in a couple minutes. Thoughts, concerns with earnings next week?
I think I just go Well, first, I mean, we've been getting a lot of beats. I mean, haven't we? I mean, hasn't this earnings season been pretty darn good? So I think maybe I mean, I was scrolling through them. What's Zscaler? How come that? Why has that been such a lagger? Where does that? Is that software? Is that where it falls into?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's come back.
I think the high bar, low bar trick. And just to to paint a broad stroke on things.
Sure.
I think Zscaler, it's been rallying, has a nice rally. I think it has a fairly high bar. Dell has a bar. Why is it up $12 this morning? Just because it's up $12? $11.50. So we got
why not? That's what happens. Earnings.
So high bar for Dell. And then what were some of the Best Buy? Let's go low bar, right?
Price target raise. So 2 analysts commenting on Dell here too, because you're asked the question.
That's it.
Evercore adding Dell to its tactical outperform
now you're adding
I know this is what they do. They chase. Everybody chases. Dell price target raise $270 at Wells Fargo. So 2 analysts both jumping on the bandwagon for Dell this morning.
And they are marked at yesterday's close, right? At 250, 280, right? That's where they're marked from on this call.
Yeah. They marked from the close. We figured that out. Like this is like, I don't know if all analyst firms work that way, but when you see these upgrades the next day, like after the stock's up 30%, they get marked from they get the close. That's what anyways that one analyst there from Goldman Sachs did. It's crazy. I know. Okay. Who doesn't get the close? Tony Pollock. He makes good calls and he makes good trades. Let's go grab him, run that intro.
Coming to the stage with a smile, as always, the owner of Real Life Trading, Tony Pollock.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Too much? So what do you got on the whiteboard back there? Come on.
It was perfect, man. That was a perfect intro. Perfect segue, perfect intro. What's going on, guys? Wild markets out here, man. This is fun. Yeah.
Okay. Tony, we're going to go right into this. It's going to be ticker time. We want to do 15 hardcore minutes of ticker time here with you right here, right now. Give me your tickers, chat. Let's start with, we just mentioned Marvell, and they're talking about it in the chat, MRVL. And it's been a hell of a run. It does report earnings next week, which is always tough to do technicals when you got an earnings event coming up. But just take a look at the chart here. Obviously, we've been on an impressive run here. Does the run continue?
Yeah, this is such an impressive run. Here's one thing I know for a fact is that this stock and other stocks have done impressive runs before, and they've all done pretty much the same thing after an impressive run. We end up getting a pullback. It's just when. So if we know for a fact pullbacks will come, right? The market's not going to go to infinity and beyond. That's the hardest part of trading this is it probably continues higher. Like there's nothing telling me that the bears are even close to stepping in on this. But that's exactly how everyone felt over here too, right? And over here and over here. So it's the same game. This is really an epic run. The good news is on a shorter time frame, you do have some structure built. So at least you have a few levels you can play against. And I would say 170 is pretty much where the bulls drew the line and saying, hey, this is where we're committing. We're going all in, and it took back off again. So as long as it can stay above that 170 to 160 range, the party continues. So that's what I'd be looking at this. Stay bullish. Just understand that all of these do end up repeating this eventually. So manage your risk, but it looks really good.
Second ticker, Circle, CRCL. Stock is actually a little bit in consolidation station here. We don't have a lot of these that are in consolidation station because everything's been running. Circle, CRCL.
I don't know if I've ever looked at this stock. Let me see if I have a drawing on it. Nope. All right, cool. So this is a fresh one for me. IPO'd, rampaged, and then it pulled back. But here's the cool thing is it pulled back with structure. And that's what I like to see. So this is buying. This is algorithms buying through here, Beautiful double bottom, great closeout. I would have more of a bullish lean long-term on this.
Ooh.
So structure looks pretty good. The daily time frame, this is where things a little bit shorter time frame gets a little stuck, because what should have happened was a strong close through here. That's what we want to see. Whenever we fail to get those strong closures, it can open the door for a little bit more weakness. So if it did pull back, I would kind of be targeting this gap fill area for the bulls to step back in. If they do, I like it long term. So eventually, I think this thing bounces. Short term, maybe we come back down. If we were to draw some type of like trend line, maybe $100 gets hit again. Expect bulls to be there. If not, then we come back to 70 and party again. So overall, I like it. I think it probably will bounce if I were looking at it, just based on the structure.
Okay, continuing the party here. Going right down the list. We're going to go Rick Knight wants Iron, I-R-E-N.
We got a couple irons. So
that's okay, who else? Yeah, so we got a couple of them. We got to go to them. Yeah, thinking about it, wanted I or R-E-N as well.
Yeah, super strong move up. And the thing that I love about this is that it didn't just punch straight back down. The bulls came back in. So that validates this big run up, which hardly ever happens when a stock goes ballistic. So that is a great sign. The next great thing I love about this, it came in and put in a great trap. Like the bears tried to invalidate this whole move like it always does. That always works. And then immediately squeezed. We are in a squeeze right now in this stock still. So bulls are still buying it up. The momentum looks great. I would be looking at bulls to come back in around like 55 is what I would start looking at. It doesn't mean they're going to. I'm just saying this is where they should. So now it gives you an area of watching. If we come back through and there's just no bulls, that tells you a lot. We come back through, you get some lower wicks in that range. Very high probability in my eyes that we're going to be going back to 68 to 70, maybe even a new all-time high. I like this a lot. This is really good structure, really good momentum. Bulls did what they should, right where they should have. Green light for me. I'd expect dips to keep getting bought unless something changes.
Okay, Gabe Fabe jumped to Q with 5 pounds A-net.
Let's go. A-net. So A-net, it did what I said most stocks do, right? Rampages up, pulls straight back down. So are we trying to put in a new high? Well, is this an all-time high here? I think it is. Whenever we make an all-time high, you get volume and it falls apart. I hate buying those dips. The dips tend to keep dipping. So if you look here, all-time high, pulled back hard, dips came in, and then it just fell apart. It's not going to do that guaranteed, but these dips get a little bit rough whenever we make a fresh all-time high that pulls back. It's done this before. It's bounced off of the 50. This could have a little bit lower to go. Bulls, in my opinion, have to hold around 130. If this starts to give that up, then now we've got a massive double top, and it'll start pulling back into the bigger ranges. Big gap down over earnings. We are putting in some structure on this, and it's trying to gap back up. The bulls are trying to hold. Like, that's what should happen. Just the buy the dips after this recent price action tend to get a little bit weird. So just be careful on this. Overall, it's bullish. Overall, we're still good until, 130 to 110. Somewhere, like I said in here, I would say keep looking bullish on this thing. So that's what I like on it. The only little warning flag would be the all-time high reaction there. Would make me hesitant.
Okay. Got a couple CRM.
Oops, got to type it in there.
Earnings on Wednesday.
Yeah, catalyst.
Oh, okay. So there is a little bit of a catalyst on this. Man. So this is what I was talking about here earlier. Good example. When the bulls don't hold strong at a new high, we tend to get a lot more selling. The issue with this is bulls built a case and then gave it back up. So now we have a ceiling on this stock. I would say 220, if it does go bullish, is going to be a pretty solid place and a target to get back to. It can go through it. Anything can happen. Everything I'm speaking is just probabilities, right? That's how my brain's working. High probability, it gets stuck here below 240 for a while. This is a pretty big level for it to not hold. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, we're breaking structure on a monthly time frame, which is never a good sign, but it's done this before. So now we can look back and say, okay, what did we do previously? Well, it's broken structure, it's pulled back down, and then we got some strong engulfing candles. I love the lower wicks coming through here. Earnings are going to determine everything. If this does break, look for it to work its way back to the previous bouncing spot. Old support, right? 135. But if this does bounce, now we're going to start getting some structure that looks a little similar to what this is at. And I love the volume coming through. That's a really big sign that, hey, we're getting some transactions here. People are paying attention. It's not just falling off of a cliff. Bulls are trying to hold these lows. It feels like it wants to repeat what it's done before. Stocks tend to repeat the past. I would look a little bit more bullish than anything on this. Just needs to be confirmed.
Tamar wants Intuit, INTU. This stock has been an epic disaster. Just made new 52-week lows on fantastic earnings, I might say. And that's actually the truth. The earnings were good. They raised the guy and they hammered the stock. What is happening here?
Man, we are in uncharted territory. We've never touched this red line here, the 200 on a monthly.
Never touched the red line. What is that? What is the red line?
It's a 200 on a monthly. So
the never trade.
No, the never trade.
We're in uncharted territory. So people see this and they're like, buy the dip. Just because the stock's low doesn't mean it has to bounce, right? So stocks tend to bounce when they're low, but it doesn't have to. Trying to catch this knife is probably going to keep beating some people up. So if we can put emotions inside these candles are made up of people, right? What I'm seeing here is any bag holder was probably looking at this level for the final spot of like, okay, this needs to hold or I'm done. We could be finally capitulating and this might actually reverse back through, but it's going to have to do it decently soon. And what I'd want to see is some strong excitement or some news coming back through. If this doesn't, I mean, again, we're at that support. If it doesn't, who knows? Again, it's like this whole thing is already broken and we've got early signs. This structure broke. And when that thing breaks, the party's over, in my opinion. And everyone else thought so too, because we've been selling off for months on end. What I'd be looking at now, this gap is rough. Look for some type of commitment from the bulls. See if the bears step back through and then get taken out. If we can get that type of move, there's a chance this will rebound. But until we get up above 430, 425, I don't trust it. So you can still buy very, very low, but you don't have to buy the bottom. Don't think that buying the bottom is what's going to make you money. Buying low will make you money, but wait for a little bit of confirmation to come through in this scenario. That would be my line in the sand. This is where the bulls had it, gave it back up. 425, put an alert out there, wait 5 years, they'll probably go off. And then there should be some momentum to go back to the bull side. So that would be my thoughts on this for right now. I'd be hands off and leaving it alone. See how the rest of it survives.
Okay. Well, Pablo didn't give us a Lincoln like Gabe Fabe did, but he said please. So he moves to the top of the queue. RGTI. Quantum mover.
RGTI?
Yeah. I love what Tony is like.
This is another one that's like a clear stock, man. I don't know if I have a drawing on this stock. Yeah. I've been doing this for a decade. And if I don't have a drawing on a stock, it's a good one. All right. I'm excited. I love new stocks. So in my personal opinion, so really good momentum. I mean, you can't ignore that volume. Like that is a big deal. The last time we put volume in like
Trump bump.
The Trump bump.
Oh yeah, he's U.S. government taking a position on all these quantum stocks yesterday, and this was one of them.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we're playing the play. Well, good news is we've had moves like this before where it pumps, it kind of pulls back down with some structure, and it's usually a little bit more time before something really fun happens. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see the same thing happen here. Let this run and then let it pull back down. But here's going to be the difference for me, what I would be looking for. I'd be looking to make money on this in a couple months, not today. And that's a huge difference. Like people are like, this is moving. I would wait and see how this plays out. This is, to me, is not the money-making move. This is the sentiment move. Let's see how well this holds at this resistance. That's probably where it's going to go, is 25. Let this move up and then see if we get some structure being built on the way down. If it moves up and falls straight down, I don't want it. If it moves up and we get some structure over the next few weeks, maybe next month, I'm going to look for my sign here to get back in. And that could be moving the markets here in a little bit. So if it runs without me, great. I can always day trade it if I want to, or I just leave it alone. But for me, that's exactly how I would play this. Look to see if the structure can come out. If you can be patient, it's done this before. Wait for some structure. Let it build its case. This is a much better place to jump in than this ever was, right? So if you can get out of the hype, see what happens afterwards, you'll get rewarded, I think, especially if it's going to have any longevity. you'll have a better chance to get back in, especially if you're buying this with options. By the way, this is death for options. When a market's running, you don't want to be buying options on it. When everyone that bought is losing, that's when you want to be buying these things on discount, and you'll get rewarded from that. But this would probably be a share play, in my opinion.
Loyal STN member Carmen wants ENPH, please, with much pretty. ENPH.
I think I typed that in wrong. Okay, here we go. ENPH.
You got it.
Wow.
Blast off Central.
Wow.
This
what
is a SpaceX pop a little bit here too with solar yesterday.
This is some excitement. Like, this is what you want to see when a stock is really beat up, is finally some excitement, right? Some news change. Again, grabbing new lows and then immediately bought back up. So if we were looking here, to me, I'm late to this party. This is my sentiment move. This volume. All of this is telling you stuff. And then look, it built structure. You see a common theme this morning. You wait a little bit, and then there's your move. And so if we were looking at this stock, go back to a daily time frame, this is my play right here. Just wait for the double bottom. It's pretty simple, right? It's simple. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complex. There's more that I do with this, but like, just play that. This was a great entry. So now if this is a great entry, would I be adding here or taking profits here? I'd probably let this run some more, but I'd be looking to take profits to see at this big resistance level, most likely going to get a pullback, which means bulls should be in this zone. If you wanted in on this, join the big money, join where people are already at. I'd be looking to add somewhere in here, which probably means that's the entry point. So I like back into like $50 to $40, somewhere in there, should have some bulls. If it continues to run, great. I still think it's probably going to pull back into that range. And I'd look for something like that to happen on that. Overall, looks very bullish, looks really good. And big target on this will be like 75 will be a big test. If it can make it through that, then I think $100 would be best case short term for this thing right now that I would put my targets at.
Okay, going with the triple please is Ralph Manuel. He gave me a couple stocks, but I'm going to go with one that I've had in my portfolio, Oracle.
Yeah, this one's starting to wake up. So this is one that I've been looking at here for a little bit. It got beat up pretty hard, but there is a lot of momentum. When you get a weekly candle that looks like this, I pay attention, especially on some volume at a great buy. It S-curved, closed back up, and the bulls should have been right here, and they were. This week confirmed it. Like, that's what we're looking at, right? When we get that move, we want to see, do the bulls step in inside this box? And they did. Great sentiment coming through. I'd be leaning more bullish on this, but the one thing that is starting to catch my eye now is that we've made a massive bull run. We're up at a pretty huge resistance. It might open the door for some more rest before it goes higher, and that rest is normally what beats people up. They see a big move, they expect a big move, and most of the time you get a big move and it rests, and then this is when people get stopped out or get impatient, and then a month later, then it makes its move. So just be aware that it could be resting for a little bit, but overall sentiment-wise, looks pretty good. It's just got to get up above this $200 mark. If it can do that, it should be working for new higher lows on monthlies and kind of trying to do that over the next little while.
We got another Tony in the chat. Tony wants Meta, M-E-T-A.
Meta, man. So I made some good money on Meta early this year, but momentum, in my opinion, right now is just kind of falling off. If 522 gets broken, we now have, sorry guys.
You mean 622.
If this thing breaks, there's a good chance this is a head and shoulder. We're going to start to fall back down. It's done something like this before. The momentum is kind of leaving. Last month is where a lot of momentum came through, and then it got rejected hard. So 687 is where a lot of bears are sitting. And then I'm looking at this, and I think really what that was earnings. I'm looking at this and going, there's not a whole lot of excitement buying this thing back up at a support, right? With the markets running, with everything else running, this is failing too. So if the bulls do step in, I'd be looking for some trap and then a bounce to come back in. Right now, 660 to 680 would be a good target for these bulls. I'm not sure how much higher we can go from there, but I also wouldn't be shocked at all to see this start to work back down into like 520 range. At the moment, we're just chopping sideways. There's not a whole lot of sentiment to be read from this, except for I didn't get a gap down, and then so many bulls excited to buy this gap back up. We haven't gotten that yet. So I'm waiting on this. If I would have gotten this price action, it's a little bit more exciting to buy this dip. But for right now, we're not getting it. There's no real momentum and excitement there. So now I'm going to let a little bit more bears coming back through until the bulls decide this is a little bit, more exciting, or we get a little bit more volume coming through to figure out if this is going to bounce or not. It's a sleeper right now. It's meta. It can go to the moon and back overnight. But right now, I'm not seeing a whole lot. This will probably continue to chop, look for some type of bear trap sentiment. I want the bears to step in and the bulls take them back out. At the moment, though, it looks a little bit more weak than bullish.
Okay, Tony, one more, and we're giving you another Tony. It's the Tony show here. Tony C wants Netflix, NFLX.
Oh, it's another one I made some money on. So we bought this thing down around here. Why? Because it's bounced here before off the 200. It rampaged up, and then we stayed in, and then we ended up getting out like right here after the earnings pulled back through. So one of the biggest issues we have is that we built structure, and it didn't hold over earnings. So once we close back down, again, old support, now new resistance, that's exactly what we've hit into. This could start to work its way back lower again into like 75 if the bulls don't reclaim 95. If they can reclaim 95, there should be some more bull moves to come. Right now, though, this is weak. We held, like I said, we got in, I think, over here, went a little bit lower, bounced back up. And then after earnings, that day right here, we closed out. I thought this was still a very good buy the dip on earnings. And again, what should have been a very strong bull day, something like this, there was no excitement. And so that's something I look for a lot is at the big buying zones on a very strong moving stock, you should have limit orders sitting through here like there's no tomorrow. And they just canceled. They weren't there. It fell lower. So it's not done. Netflix isn't over, but at the same time, until I start seeing some real demand, I'm staying away from it.
Wow, what a segment here. Have we crushed it this week with our guests and our segments and stuff? And then to have Tony Pollock, the owner of Real Life Trading, to tip us off on this Memorial Day weekend. Tony,
thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The chief technician at the Stock Trader Network, Tony Pollock. Thanks, Tony.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. See you.
All right. I was looking for we had the 814 pop. Very rarely do I go to a 1 minute chart. Very rarely. But, as Dennis would say, the market gets antsy in their pantsies. Well, at 814 exactly, Arabic sources, the Pakistani army chief is on his way to Tehran due to an urgent matter. So, war's over again.
Good news. Yep. War's over again?
Yeah.
War's on, war's off. Well, remember, it's during the week. We know we have a long weekend coming here. Probably going to be war back on this weekend. So just keep that in mind because we get tough, when the markets are closed. So we'll see what happens this weekend. I'd imagine threats will resume tomorrow morning. So that's where we are. So, okay, I'm sick of talking war. I don't talk war. We haven't talked ratings in a while.
No, we haven't.
That intro. Let's do a couple ratings. Fees can run that. I'm going to start with a Generac. I own GNRC in my long-term portfolio. I have been talking about this as an AI play for a while. Generators and data centers sounds like it goes together to me. We get an upgrade here. We get an upgrade from Jefferies. They're upgrading from a hold to buy, raising their price target up to $302. I like that. Analyst upgrades coming from the street. Thank you. The analyst comments. Upgrade to buy on multiple shots on goal for data center contract conversion. What I've been talking about. Across our coverage, companies with data center updates drive positive share reactions. We see positive risk-reward skew with two potential announcements this year. Baduin engines are finding their way, I don't know if I said that right, it's finding their way into hyperscaler configurations, pointing to market acceptance for a product only GNRC can ably scale. And I don't know their second reason. But they raised the price target to $302 on higher estimates, relative multiples, and yield unchanged. Okay.
I don't know about how I feel about this rating, Dennis. I mean, you got a bar. I'm gonna give you a bar of. I'm gonna give it like a B- here. I was saying
I want to give it an A+. I own the stock. I want it to go higher.
bar of interest for me is this daily bar when it closed at 263.68. The next day it exceeded that. It tanked to 248.28 and closed at the 253 area. So, I mean, if you have a target up here or you got lucky on some like 250 calls or something, I'm looking at it. If you just think it's a runner today, at least for today, 266.19. I'd also look at the average daily range, right? These option guys and stuff, they want to keep this in the range for the week so they can suck in all that premium. So let's see what the average daily range is. But just think, and it's going to take a little time, but what if what if the solar goes down for SpaceX and they put generators in space?
Generators in space. I like the idea, Joel. I like all these ideas here. Go, Generac. I'm sticking with it. I will be sticking with my long. Hurricane season is coming as well. It's a good point. June 1st starts hurricane season. So, I mean, we're a week and a half away from that. Obviously, it doesn't peak until August, September, but it's never, it's a seasonality trade here, and Generac's been running ahead of that. So I like it. Alcoa, upgraded by UBS to buy from neutral, raising their price target from $80 from $75. Brokerage cites expectations that prolonged Middle East smelter outages will tighten supply, driving higher aluminum spot prices and offsetting near-term demand risks. UBS upgrading Alcoa to buy.
Sounds smart. Sounds like the guy, sounds like he came up or she came up with a fundamental reason. So I'm not going to argue with them on this one.
Daniel Major. So it is a he.
I'm sorry?
Analyst Daniel Major.
Daniel Major. Okay. I'd say I just would give you a target here of 68.07 for today. It's already up $1.22. Not much trading going on in the pre-market. I think the whole entire range from yesterday. What was the range in Alcoa? It was $2.50. So another $1.25 would get you up over 68. So there's some potential targets. Remember when Alcoa used to lead off earnings season, Dennis?
Yeah.
Way back.
No, and then they always was Alcoa kicking off earnings season. Nobody cared about Alcoa. They're starting to care about it again. Yeah. It's been on the comeback trail. I mean, think about where this was just going back, just even a couple 2025. We hit $22 on this.
And I used to do my Klaus Kleinfeld imitation. Do you remember that
again?
Klaus Kleinfeld. Remember? He had that accent. I used to do that long time ago.
Where is good old Klaus?
I don't know. He's not there anymore. Maybe we could get him on our pre-market prep.
He's still alive? Must be still alive.
Dennis. I hope so.
We hope so. People are getting older, Joel.
Do we want to wrap it up on time?
Yeah, well, Claude would be happy if we wrapped on time. We can't make Claude that happy, so maybe we got to wait a few minutes here. But no, 30 seconds to go in the show here. So we come into a long weekend. Expectations are, the bull continues here. One thing to consider, I'm not, just saying it. It's been the trend is that we have had hostilities in the Middle East, like obviously escalation, at least from the Trump administration, on the weekends. Does that happen again? Because we've seen this time and time again. We come in Sunday night, futures are trading down. Are futures going to be open Sunday night, Joel? Or did they wait? It will be Sunday night. So keep that in mind. I would imagine, even though we have a deal on the table again for the 28th time, it was the 27th yesterday, 28th time here, that the deal could fall apart here on the weekend. And then they'll be talking again on Monday morning or Tuesday morning when the markets reopen. So I would not be surprised to see some type of rug pull on this deal again, because we've seen this a lot of times.
A couple previews here coming on the Stock Trader Network today. A guest that we had on pre-market prep a long time ago, a guy that works with Jim Cramer over there, Bob Lang, Explosive Options, will be joining us on the Stock Trader Network at 10 a.m. today. He had some nice setups that he would like to talk about. And you would think, we had a really great week of guests, but just want to preview the guest for next week. We are bringing, of course, on Wednesday, we are bringing Blue Putnam, right, the chief economist at the CME, right? So we're going to bring him on to talk economic data. And then on Thursday, we all want to talk to Craig Johnson, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Craig Johnson's going to give us Louis Sykes will be returning, but I want you guys to all show up on Tuesday as we got a new guest coming on, and her name is Shayna Sissel. She is the queen of alternatives. She is the CEO of Van Iron Capital Management, and she was in the STN room a couple weeks ago. Great perspective on the market. So make sure you tune in Tuesday to see Shayna. We did it 2 days without the Brentster. I think we're doing excellent. Fee helping out in the background. All the other guys, I want to thank AJ Fabino for helping us out this week. Really happy to welcome Nick Brown to the team. Josh always doing his job. Brian, we got a new show. If you want to learn about AI, right, and you want to learn how to apply it to our trading, we have an AI show with Brian Deitch. He premiered on Tuesday. We're going to have that on Thursday. And that's just one small step from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Don't forget about Money Mitch running in the background here, building an educational portal for us here. We have a lot of education coming your way here. Money Mitch shows on at 7:30 every single night, the Swing Trading Show. Money Mitch killing it with the themes. He was all over DXYZ as well.
All right, folks, everyone, be safe. Have a good weekend. Enjoy time with your family, and back with you on Tuesday morning.